In a lot of respects, Beerus is an extremely lazy and complacent god of destruction. His lack of action while being awake during the events of Dragon Ball Super actually causes many of these events to have very negative repercussions unnecessarily. So today I revisit a topic I did pretty crappily in a live stream a long time ago. What if Beerus actually helped in Dragon Ball Super? Or, more appropriately, what if Beerus took his job seriously? Our story begins after the god of destruction has awoken and faced the Super Saiyan God. While he seems disinterested in the universe currently outside of food and battle, we suggest they visit the Supreme Kai to establish an understanding of the state of the universe now that Beerus is awake again. Beerus lets out a massive yawn and says he'd rather just go back to sleep. Well, I guess that could be fine, but should the universe be deemed lacking in your sleep, perhaps it'll end up like universes 13 through 18? Beerus's eyes immediately widen, and he tells Whis to head to the Supreme Kai now. Whis smirks and nods, changing course without a second thought. When they arrive, Kibito Kai and Elder Kai bow. Tell me, Kai, do you think it's suitable to have fused with your replacement without first replacing them? Kibito Kai tells Beerus that they didn't know the fusion would be permanent, as that information was held out by Elder Kai. Beerus's glare shifts to Elder Kai immediately. I wonder how you've escaped that sword. In your absence, I've been linked with many different Kais, so perhaps now I could just kill you once and for all without having to worry about myself. Elder Kai releases an audible gulp as Beerus considers ending the nuisance Kai once and for all. But Kibito Kai speaks up and says that Elder Kai has been of great help in educating him as to the way the universe needs to be maintained. Beerus looks disgusted at Kibito Kai and tells Whis to fix the mess in front of him. So, with just a tap of his staff, Shin and Kibito are split once again. They thought the fusion was permanent, but Whis simply laughs. Some powers in this world simply exceed others. Not having a time limit and being permanent are far different things when it comes down to it. They both thank Whis and Beerus immediately. Elder Kai then asks if Whis can do that for him, but Beerus glares at him till he crawls away. You're lucky to be alive, Kai. Take your deplorable state as punishment for upsetting a god of destruction. The Elder Kai bows and apologizes for his arrogance. Now that Shin and Kibito are split, the Supreme Kai asks why Beerus and Whis have made their way out to the realm of the Kaioshin after such an intense battle. Beerus tells Shin to catch him up on the state of the universe currently. But before we get into that though, only 20% of the people who watch this channel are subscribed. So subscribe if you haven't already. You could always unsub in the future if you change your mind. So Shin weaves a tale regarding what's happened over the last 39 years, which culminates with the tale of Majin Buu. As the story of Buu unfolds, Beerus remembers meeting Buu on Earth and thinks of how much of a nuisance he was. Then Shin explains the part where he almost dies and Beerus's jaw drops. He asks why the Supreme Kai would ever put their lives at risk like that, and he says it was because Beerus was asleep. Beerus then looks to Whis. I actually believe that your napping habits left the universe without a destroyer, my lord. So it seems to be your fault for your barely avoided demise. Beerus glares at Whis, but he's sweating. There's no menace behind the glare because he's just too nervous to come off as frightening. It's this moment that changes the god of destruction's outlook forever. He'd known his power was so great that he'd have nothing to fear for himself, but the Supreme Kai was a different story. If his inaction causes the Kais to get involved, then his inaction was endangering himself. At first, he thought about changing his ways, but he decides to just tell Shin to stop getting involved when he doesn't have to. After the talk finishes, Beerus and Whis return to Beerus's planet, and once they arrive, Beerus asks Whis to check on his staff how long the Kais have been fighting in his stead for. Whis looks and is blown away. Well, my lord, it seems the Kais have been fighting for quite some time. Of course, you know about the resurrection of Majin Buu a few years back, but before then, he absorbed the Grand Supreme Kai, who you were previously linked to, as well as the South Supreme Kai, while also killing the North and West Supreme Kais at that time. Lucky for you, the Grand Supreme Kai wasn't killed then, so you were able to link yourself to Shin after the absorption happened. Beerus audibly gulps and can't believe he was so close to death twice, but Whis discovers something else as well. It seems that before Boo, there was a planet eater known as Moro. This being had a great battle with our dear Grand Supreme Kai as well, and I believe at the time you said that natural destroyers like that made your job easier. Whis goes on to explain that the Grand Supreme Kai locked Moro's power away, and the Planet Eater was taken to the galactic prison as he couldn't be killed by anyone besides Beerus at that time. All this information annoys Beerus, and he tells Whis to stop telling him what happened. He gets the point now. Inaction would only lead to his own death sooner or later, so better to be active and alive than asleep and dead. Beerus asks if Moro is still imprisoned, and Whis nods. He asks the God of Destruction if they will be making their way to the Galactic Patrol prison now, but he says no. They won't be. Beerus tells Whis to head to Earth to get Goku and Vegeta. If he's going to be active again, he'll need sparring partners, and those two are the best he has right now. Meanwhile, Beerus will head to the Galactic Patrol and grant Moro a swift execution. So, the two part ways to complete their tasks. It's easy to convince Goku and Vegeta to train on Beerus' world, but it's a bit harder for Beerus to gain access to Moro. When he approaches their prison, they don't treat him with immediate respect, as Beerus' inaction made the patrol believe the God of Destruction to simply be a myth. Beerus is starting to become enraged, but before he can destroy the entire prison, the landing bay is opened and he's allowed in. Once inside, he's met by none other than Meris, who asks how he could help the God of Destruction. "Are angels naturally subservient, or are you just a special case?" Meris asks Beerus to please keep his voice down, as no one is supposed to know that he's an angel. Beerus lets out a yawn and simply asks to be taken to Moro, which of course Meris obliges to. Once at his prison, Beerus bends down to the withering old goat and isn't impressed by him in the slightest. "It seems that relying on magic and stealing the power of others has turned you brittle, but don't think I'll let you off so easily." Without any magical ability and having been starved for years, Moro has no way to stop the inevitable execution that's coming his way. Beerus tells Meris that he's going to change the universe for the better, so perhaps he'd find better value on his world than being in the Galactic Patrol. With Moro destroyed, Meris is inclined to agree, so he goes with Beerus back to his planet. When they arrive, Whis, Goku, and Vegeta are already training. This is early, even for Vegeta, but far earlier for Goku, who came to the planet 6 months after the Saiyan Prince did in the original story. Alongside this, they have Meris to help train them, and Meris is fundamentally a different teacher than Whis. Meris is lower on the hierarchy of angels, but because of that, he's got a better understanding of how weaker beings interpret things. This, alongside the extra time, helps push Goku and Vegeta's training along a lot faster, so much so that when Frieza is inevitably revived in Resurrection F, he's a non-issue. Everything in the arc goes the same until the arrival of Goku and Vegeta. Base Goku, with 6 months training advantage, is able to pound Final Form Frieza into the dirt with ease, and when they both transform, it's no different. In the original, Golden Frieza had greater power but worse stamina. Here, he's both at a power and stamina disadvantage. This is where things differ though. As Goku has had time to train with Meris, he gains a greater understanding of the Angel's sense of justice, the desire to protect the entire universe as a whole. Because of this, Goku doesn't hesitate and finishes off Frieza once and for all. Vegeta is angry that Goku didn't give him a turn, and Goku apologizes, but as he does, he sees Meris smiling proudly out of the corner of his eye. Happy to know Goku has truly learned something beyond just martial arts from him. After this, we end up in the Universe 6 tournament, which goes on fairly unchanged due to the lack of godly intervention that plays a role, and that despite Vegeta's power growth, it'd be hard to say he beats Hit since he still lacks knowledge of how time skip works when he's in the fight. This is where things get a bit more interesting though, the Goku Black arc. Remember, Beerus now has a fear for his own life, as it can be taken away any moment should Shin be in the wrong place at the wrong time, so after Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks return from their first trip to the future, Beerus is only more worried. You see, in the future timeline, Beerus doesn't currently exist because Shin died in the battle against Babidi and Dabra. That, alongside the news that Goku Black had killed the gods, made Beerus nervous for his own survival in this timeline. So not only does he take out Zamasu in the present like he did originally, but to confirm the future counterparts are gone, he goes to the future to verify as well. Before he goes to the future, Beerus talks to Whis and is given something that no one else can see. He tells them not to worry about it for now, and they all get in the time machine, leaving for the future immediately. This leads to Beerus seeing both Zamasu and Goku Black when they arrive, but in turn, when they see the God of Destruction, they immediately change their plan and merge into one with the Potara earrings that they currently have. With this, a battle ensues, but it's clear that Beerus has the advantage, much like Vegito did in the anime. Only difference is Beerus is stronger and has no time limit. As the battle rages, Merge Zamasu is forced into his degraded form, which grants him a power boost as well. This power isn't enough to close the gap with Beerus though, and only reveals something more pressing to Beerus.
So, you've retained some amount of immortality after merging. It seems I was right not to destroy your body immediately.
That's when Beerus reveals he has a sword, the item given to him by Whis before he left for the future timeline. This sword is very similar in appearance to the Z sword. One small slice would seal the person hit indefinitely, and that's exactly Beerus' plan. So, one slice and the battle is over. The timeline is saved, and Beerus returns to the present with the others. He tells future Trunks and Mai to never return to the present again, and they agree, thanking Beerus for his help. Before they go, Vegeta hands Trunks a capsule. In it is a spaceship with coordinates to New Namek. If the Zero Mortal plan truly started on Earth, then perhaps the Namekians are still alive, and they can wish back the gods and the rest of their timeline with the Namekian Dragon Balls. Trunks begins to cry and thanks his father. Vegeta scoffs and returns to the time machine. Beerus is yelling for him to hurry up so they don't get found out by Zeno. So, our heroes return to the present, where the Tournament of Power happens, basically as it did originally, -1 Zeno. The notable difference here is Ultra Instinct. With Meris having helped Goku's training from so early on, the fundamentals of Ultra Instinct are heavily implanted in Goku, allowing him to fully master the use of Ultra Instinct in the tournament once he's on the verge of death, the ultimate trigger for Goku to activate the secret technique of the gods. After this, the Broly movie happens, but with a Goku who can use Ultra Instinct at will, there'd be no need for fusion, allowing the fight to be ended with Broly being teleported away from an Ultra Instinct Kamehameha instead. Notably, Goku still carries around Meris' justice within him, and since he sees Frieza's attack as a direct betrayal of Beerus' kindness, he kills the Emperor for one final time. With Moro being handled at the beginning of our story, this is where it ends. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you so very much for watching.